So it's really a great pleasure being here. Really sorry that the previous presenters were not able to come, but we are here to participate. So I'm going to show you some research that has been taking place here in Greece. The title is Enhancing Seedling Transplant while conserving water. This is research that it was done along with one of my master students, Nikolaos Tsakiris, and also another committee member, George James, who is part of the team. So thank you very much for this great opportunity. I've been following all the presentations along since yesterday, and it's been running really well. Great speeches regarding this great topic about the plant science and agriculture. So as I've been introduced, but I really want to show some pictures on my behalf. So I'm the director of ecotourism sector, and I really want to point out here that I'm very happy to be part of this research team. This is me as a presenter as part of the UNESCO Chair Con-E-Ect. Here we are being invited in Venice in 2019, and this is before COVID. It's a great pleasure to be part of this great group of scientists representing, the Mediterranean ecosystems. So my background is ecophysiology, but I'm also in silviculture. So it's double major, and that's for PhD, and master's is in urban forestry. So everything is connected. That's why I'm really trying to point out here, water is a big issue for everybody worldwide, whether it's under limit or extra access. Floods, we don't like floods. So I'm also part of this ecotourism action. I'm also at the International Council of the World Tourism Forum, which is very important to me, being part of this great effort worldwide in order to present what is going on with our ecosystems and how the environment should take a priority in our projects and all our contribution there. So people worldwide, they're getting connected. Our next meeting is shortly in October. That's going to take place in Brussels, and hopefully we will put a little bit more emphasis on our ecosystems. And this is part of I'm really happy for this global climate smart agriculture youth networking. A great effort that it's been done in Africa, connecting all the countries of Africa from west, south, north, east, in order to enhance sustainability, biodiversity, and also a proper transplanting and food production, which is very important worldwide. So I'm really happy also to be part of as a General Secretary of the International World Women Cooperation Society, that is a branch for the Balkan areas here in Europe. So presenting here, we were very happy to have this meeting and teaching the kids. Here you can see how to properly transplant, because not only science, it's the main thing is how science can reach people and how science can teach the younglings and everybody to sustain those ecosystems. So, so introducing a little bit myself, Mediterranean ecosystems, we can see that they are present worldwide. It's not just at the Mediterranean area. We found Mediterranean ecosystems in Africa, at the southern part of America, Australia. So it's something that it's not just here at the Mediterranean area, it's something that is worldwide affecting our ecosystems. So how can you actually transplant? How can we actually save water while also enhancing this transplant success? This is the key part, because we're lacking of water, okay? But that's not what we've heard lately at the news. We have big flood problems, so I'm gonna get into there. So I'm gonna do the need for the research, the aim of the study, some methodology that has been used, results and discussion, conclusions. What is the next step we're aiming afterwards? And of course, that take-home message that we can take all after the end of this presentation. So intense drought periods, especially during the summers. So we've been entering the summer period now. During the summer, we had really big problems. That's why you've heard us at the news that we have biggest year event of fires. So most of Greece has been burned, and we had really big problems stopping those fires. And we have to keep in mind that water is needed when we have those fires. So for us, it's a year event. You could say we have fires every year, but this year was really significant because it exceeded any kind of expectation. Big problem. So you can hear just a small part of Greece, what is going on. This is southern of Greece, a lot of fires taking place from an area photo from Copernicus, but that was all over Greece burning. You might have heard one of the national parks of Valasia that has been burned lately, and this is just the result of everything. The good thing and the good news is that those ecosystems are prone to fire, so we expect them to regenerate by themselves. However, though, this intensity of fires that has been introduced through these climatic alterations, it's hard for them, of those ecosystems, to sustain their viability and maintenance after those frequent fire events. Okay, we do need, as I say to my students, you do need old trees in order to seed properly, in order to have those areas being seeded naturally. If you don't, if you burn everything, then there's nothing much to seed on. So if there's a map, recent map, that has been indicating the severity of the events that has been taking place this year, you see 2023, it's really something really bad that's been taking place. Before this conference, I was trying to travel to Athens to present, at another international conference, and thank God I was able to reach out there. But you can see now what fires is following. It's the floods. Everything was there. Even as I speak, the communication among the southern part of Greece and the northern part of Greece has been cut. So we're not talking about lacking of water. We're talking about now access of water. And this is what is coming afterwards, a fire event. It's really something that is expected, but not the severity, not at the level that we have fatalities, we have infrastructure that has been destroyed, and this is nature. We have to embrace nature in order to be able to work with it, and in order to be able to manage sustainably those ecosystems. It happened worldwide, it happened in India, it happened to Africa, America. So it's an event that it's really happening. This is the reality. So after the floods, we are trying to actually maintain, we have those floods here, but what you see in this picture is actually the next step. What is following up is winter for us here. So even if we've tried to transplant those sites, what you see here is ice. So the seedlings need really to survive even ice. And here is what you see, and our seedlings are even going to have to try to overcome this problem. After the flood, whatever is left, then even icing problems are prone. So we end up regenerating our sites. This is a quercus seedling after transplanting it, but this is an event, this is the result of lack of water. So the Mediterranean, and in order to restore those ecosystems in Greece, we have many obstacles, as you can see. And I'm assuming this is not just local here, this is worldwide. So our forest nurseries here, they have to find a way to actually transplant and enhance transplanting. And usually this is done during the late winter or early at this moment, but now it's not possible. Early, late in winter, and the first obstacle that they're facing is the lack of water. What follows spring is a really hot summer that we have here. So we're trying to find ways, enhance transplanting will also save water. Is that possible? Is that possible? And actually be able to have those seedlings maintain their viability. So we're trying to find easy solutions for people to use, some very handy, easy use practices without rocket science, because people, they need to be able to apply that in their fields outside. So we're working with root growth potential. And what this means is that you put the seedlings under a period of stress, and then you try to see how they respond, and then you try to increase their metabolism in order to enhance root growth. As you can see here, they're really wide, thick roots. So what we're trying to do here, first, initially at the lab, because we have to study those at the lab. Then we see how we can do outside in the field, because the ending point is how they deal with the field conditions. So we put them into the chamber and a very increased number of seedlings, and we're trying to see what they're actually trying to do. So we use it as a surrogate, as an indication, and what is the potential of the performance of the seedling when we transplant them out in seeds. So I'm going to show you, we're working here. So part of the research, okay, I'm going to show you here where we work with other students. So we would try to see how altitude is affecting their growth. So we're taking similar physiological species, such as the Pinus halepensis and Pinus nigra. One is growing at a low altitude, the other one is growing at a really high altitude. Nonetheless, similar physiological responses, how they regenerate. So we're trying to see if there is an effect on the growth of the root potential of those seedlings. So we try prior to put them into the stress, put them into low water of those experiments. And the easy way to go is frequency. So if the nurseries are watering every day during the winter, then we try to use reduced watering frequency. So we tried watering twice every week, only once every week, and only once every 2 weeks. So you can imagine how much water we can actually sustain for those seedlings. So we took measurements based on those treatments, and you can see here the different watering treatments that is taking place, and the seedlings are doing very well. So here we can see an increased number of root dry weight for the seedlings that have been watered only once every 2 weeks. So here is we're heading from 2 weeks, 1 week, and then 1 every 2 weeks of watering. So you can see here they increase at the potential of growing new roots of those seedlings. So this is the final outcome of those different. So depending on the latitude, we can see that they're both having a positive response. And here eventually we can see that Pinus halepensis, that is the lower altitude species, the species of greater need for water, responds even better for the growth of the new growth of the roots in order to actually survive those drought periods of growth conditions. So the overall outcome of this lab research was that both species, they really maintained their welfare even under the one watering every 2 weeks. This is substantially reducing the watering that is being used for those seedlings compared to watering every day. And also altitude should always be taken into consideration when we are dealing with seedling transplant. I did also a research that it was studying the same species, but also sampling seeds from different altitude. The same thing. The seedlings with the lower altitude had more vigorous growth. So we should take that into consideration. So what is next? Of course, we have to do field work. Of course, we have to try what is going on outside there. And this is the preconditioning. So what we do is we actually try, this is the result of 1 month preconditioning. So we can see is from very much water from the left, from my left to your right, to the right. But you can see also from the seed, the leaves result, that they are doing so much better, but they're still sustaining their viability when watering only 1 week, once every week. So what we did here, we put, I'm going to present now some species, some results from a species that is very prone to water. So we're not expecting to see the same thing what we saw with Pinus halepensis, because it tolerates water. Alus glutinosa is a very demanding in water, so it needs more water to survive. So preconditioning field conditions, we put them there. We, of course, maintain these controlled conditions, the soil mixture and everything. And then we are trying to do the watering treatments before we transplant for a month. So we did 3 waterings a week, 2 waterings a week, 1 watering a week, and then 1 watering every 2 weeks. We wanted to increase the watering because we didn't know how these species will respond, and it requires more water. But here at the photo, you can see at the end of the month, what is the welfare of these species. 1 watering every 2 weeks was not enough for it. You can see it's almost dying here. It could not tolerate as much as Pinus halepensis. So we extract some of those seedlings after a month. We did some dry weights. We did some results here. I'm not going to get into this detail because it's something that everybody's been already seen. Everybody's already been used. A lot of measurements that we take place, we dried out the seedlings in order to get the dry weights of those. And then after taking an initiation, and we saw, I'm not going to show you these results, we didn't see much change and we didn't see much growth at the end of the month of the preconditioning. We took the preconditioned seedlings and we put them as is outside. Even they were dying, we would transplant them outside in the field, and then we water them and let them be with no any other treatment. Because when you're out at the forest nursery transplant, then they have to do follow-up watering. So they go at least twice a week and then they rewater. We didn't water them at all. We just let them be. That was part of the experiment. And then part of the other is that we take those from those smaller containers and we transplant them into bigger pots. We just wanted to see, is there a difference when you transplant them out in the field compared to when you transplant them in a pot? Because there might be some ladies that they want to repot their seedlings. So let's see, how is that working? Does reduce water at them when you repot them in a bigger pot? So based on the field, after a month, only a month, we didn't let them, we transplant them, let them be during summer conditions, dry conditions degrees, and then after a month, we took them out and see what is going on. We wanted to study what was the result. The result was amazing. Even after a month of growth out in the field, you can see here the photos, we had growth of new roots. This means the seedlings did good. They responded, they started growing the new roots, so they are the sugars to producing more root because they need water. So they got the message, and that's what we got after a month. We did got some new root growth right here based on the watering treatment, as you can see, moving from the most to the least water of availability for the seedlings to survive. And this is for the field results, okay? That's what we see out in the field. What we see at the pot transplant, the result was less. So just from the first month, we can see that our seedlings are responding much than the transplanting of the pots. But if we want to transplant it pots, it's still working. We have some, we do have the level of this. If you want to actually compare those two, the field, the transplanting, you can see there's significant difference among those two, just from the first month. So yes, field work really pays off. When you transplant, it pays off better survival. So we extract them after 2 months. So we wanted to see how they progress out in the field. A lot of work. You imagine, most of you, you know that, you've done that. So what we saw there, the seedlings of 1 week one watering every 2 weeks, didn't make it, didn't have first growth. They died, most likely, but the one watering every 1 week and the 2 waterings every week really paid off and had the same result as watering 3 weeks. And I'm assuming even if watering every week, it would be the same result. We do have increased root growth over there. And this is the most important part, that they do get initiated. So let's see what is going on with the pots. This is what is going on with the field. We liked it, we loved it. So let's see the hard part when you transplanted the pots. We had the same result? No, we didn't have. Well, this is comparing. This is the field. This is the pots. You see, the pots are not having as much response. They're doing better with the ones a little bit watered slightly more. Smaller containers, it retains as much in the field. It goes deeper layers. So you compare those two. After 2 months of transplanting, you still can see the benefit, but it's more obvious for the seedlings that have been transplanted outside in the field. Overall conclusions, of course, drought preconditioning is a very useful tool for the nurseries to use, undoubtedly. We can see that we've tried to experience it. This is only one species that I'm presenting here. We've done it for a number of many species. The result was the same, was similar. And I'm presenting here a species, I'm reminding you, a species that is very high in demand for water. So yes, we enhance seedling characteristics. We're increasing, root growth. The root growth potential showed us that based on the research outcome. We saved water, which is one of the most important things. And when you save water, this is a very important thing. So what else? We have to study more species. We're doing that. It has to be based both on lab and field work. We need to double check if it's working for species with different physiological responses. It's a thing that is very important to us. And we can see here, I show you the photo. This is Quercus. Quercus, we've done research also with Quercus. Quercus is a very tedious species. It requires good soil. It requires an amount of water. It requires shade in order to achieve the proper transplanting success. So we work with this is a very sensitive, let's say, species, not very high in demand of water, but it demands all other things. So it's very important to see what is going on. What is the response of those seedlings? Okay, we're really working also outside of the field, but inside the greenhouse. You can see this photo here, how beautiful that root is doing, even with just a slide of watering, because we tried also with watering, field work, and some protection, just to see how it's working there. So future research, of course, we need to study more species in order to improve productivity. This cannot be implied only to forestry species. This is for production species. We have here olive trees that are very tolerant to dry conditions. There are chestnut trees that they do require the water. A lot of production species, including the forestry species, for proper transplanting. We need to regenerate our ecosystem. It's a need, it's a must. Even after those fires, and what I've been informed, they didn't take place only to Greece, they took place worldwide, and this includes India, includes Africa, Northern America, everywhere worldwide, independent of what type of ecosystem it is. So we need to take that into consideration and challenge the ecosystems as they challenge us. It's hard to do that. Dissemination is very important. What we do right here at this conference, this is why I always take part, and I really enjoy take part at these international meetings of Magnus and all the presenters, because it reaches our people worldwide. And really thank you for having me as one of your keynote speakers and being part, of this great effort that you're doing. And you allow me to show this very interesting research that I am very sure that people worldwide from other countries have also very interesting information to share with all this audience that we have here. So it's really a great pleasure. Yes, dissemination is a key thing. I'm highly interested in participating in all this. This is something that it must be done from all of us. And these are opportunities that they are giving it to us. If I had the ability to be in Valencia, I would be there with you virtually and meet you all over there, but it was not possible. So I will be very happy to entertain any kind of questions that you might have. I hope you liked it. Maybe next time the animation will work, because animation always adds up to this great meetings. So really thank you very much. I'm not going to take more of your time. I'm with the time limits of my presentation. So I hope everybody's doing great. Thank you.